I'm curious how that then maps to eating disorder.
The way I think from my experience, and I'm not an eating disorder specialist,
But you
but
see a lot of
but
it
I
'cause you
I would go to every eating disorder center and force the clinicians to learn PCOS and to make sure they're not putting these PCOS patients in a mental institution because their PCOS is getting dismissed. When I see a PCOS patient and I have a chart and I'm going over the symptoms and I'm like, oh, and they're at risk for an eating disorder, 9 out of 10, they nod their head. And even though during the intake, they declined it. Once I go through the list, they're like, yes, I did. Yes, I have. It's not always an eating disorder. It's sometimes a disordered eating. They all have disordered eating. And the way I see it, so 75% of PCOS patients gain weight and they have, the insulin resistance. We have 25% of the PCOS patients are lean PCOS patients.
Right.
So they're really not, they don't have the weight issues, but they meet other criteria. Now, insulin resistance makes it harder for us to lose weight. As we get older, we become more insulin resistant. That's why menopausal women struggle with their weight as
Their
they
body
get to
composition changes.
everything changes. So these PCOS patients at a very young age, that insulin resistance kicks in. They usually have a mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle with diabetes, or they have overweight family members. And basically, when we eat carbohydrates and our body breaks it down into glucose, glucose stimulates our pancreas to release insulin. The job of insulin is to open up the receptors on the surface of the cell so they can grab the sugar, put it into the cell where it turns into energy. Now, this is what's supposed to happen, but they don't do this. It's a complicated process, but their insulin resistant makes it harder for the sugar to go in and turn into energy. So they're tired, they're lethargic when they eat sugar. The sugar bounces in the blood, pushes their insulin up, and that high insulin starts a cascade of symptoms in their body. Number one, insulin is a fat storage hormone. So it clears that sugar by storing it as fat.
That's right.
These are patients who I swear to God, I don't know if you listened to one of our episodes with Phoebe, but she ends up in an eating disorder facility for an eating disorder. And for lunch, they put a pizza in front of her. And she said, she was 14. She's like, I will eat this, but when I eat this, I feel like my body is poisoned. I cannot process a pizza. Give me other food. I'll eat it.
Because she's so insulin resistant.
And you know what they would tell her? Well, you see, you're still not better. You have an eating disorder.
They pathologized her.